Welcome to the Great Northern Sex Cast. Colleen Bertino, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
No, tell the truth. You're getting ravaged by like something seasonal or
yes.
something. We don't know.
No. I am a 50-year-old toddler. More than likely, I will have to have tubes put in my ears. This entertains me. Well, okay, no, actually, it pisses me off. But if I don't giggle about it, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, I can actually tell, like across your eyes, like you're hazy. It's kind of a funky thing. And then we've got Miss Megan with us.
Hello.
And me, Kelly Guest. Guys, before we dive into this, because I'm gonna forget unless we do it. We at Alive and Social are becoming big time these days, and we're starting to connect with national sponsors. And we've got DraftKings on board for the network, and football season. Well, we've all know that it's just begun, but it already feels like the playoffs at DraftKings.com, and that's America's favorite one-week fantasy football site where millionaires are being crowned all season long. And one-week fantasy draft at DraftKings means no season-long commitment, so you're not completely obsessed with this, and so you might have a chance of your spouse actually still talking to you by the end of the season. It's fantasy football on demand, so you can play where you want, when you want, and with the players that you want. And then with $1 million up for grabs every week, every game is the big game, and every play matters. Why are we giggling?
Because you can play with any player you want. I like that idea.
That's a good thing.
Play with the whole team.
Here, yes, and for different teams.
High school flashback.
If you want to, that's what we do here at the Great Northern Sex Cast. So 1st and 10 in the first quarter feels like 4th and goal with 1 second left all the time. And a long touchdown run can mean more than just a victory for your favorite team. It can mean you've just turned your love of football into $1 million payday. That would not suck. And this is not fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. And hurry to DraftKings.com now and use promo code Spreaker. So it's speaker with an R in there, Spreaker, to play for free for a shot at $1 million in this week's Millionaire Maker event. Enter Spreaker for free entry now, only at DraftKings.com, DraftKings.com. That, once again, what?
DraftKings.com.
Thank you. Okay, so we got the business out of the way. You guys, have you seen, I am forced with where I am geographically situated these days to use satellite TV, and there's actually channels for like DraftKings.com. I've seen them. Like you could literally go to a channel, and I haven't done it yet, but I mean, they are out there, and there's also, there's so many weird, interesting things on satellite.
There is, yeah. I've been flipping around. I got rid of the cable because the local cable company pissed me off, and but I'm not sure it was a better thing because now with all the online stuff, I don't think my daughter gets off of it. She always has something in front of the computer or on the TV.
For sure.
But no, I used to do fantasy football through an online thing or this or that, and my only rule was you just so that the other people felt good about themselves, is I would always choose the Vikings to win.
Oh my gosh!
Because why not? And then I would choose any place I ever lived before, to win.
So it's like how I bet on horses,
or where I have relatives, or I know friends that live, stuff like that.
So
and then I would. This is going to sound incredibly sexist. I would just choose really the cute uniforms.
Okay. Yeah. Or did you ever choose the cute players?
And to tell you that, really, when they're all padded up, all you can tell is they have a nice ass. Pretty much. And then the other, I knew a couple of players here and there, but it was always, and the thing is, it would really, so this would be and it would just piss off when like halfway through the season, I'd be doing pretty good. And everybody else.
They're bitter. They're so bitter because of the way you're going about it.
Always ended up in the basement, towards the end and stuff like that. Cause I never, but it was fun. And I could understand how that sort of thing from years ago has evolved into the
online stuff.
The online stuff and all that.
Yeah. No, I actually like the way that the DraftKings setup it works because it's, now mind you, this is not to slam any of the people who they have their draft parties, and this is like Christmas to these people. The ones that really, and then they're in the one league, and that's great. That's old school and whatever. But I think this is pretty neat. It's a whole new layer of things.
No, it's not. Everybody's got their stuff. I mean, we folks that are in their costuming, and Megan over here, we've got Crypticon coming up, and
which I need an update on that when you're in a minute.
And it just people have their stuff. And I'm perfectly fine with people's stuff.
For sure. Now, Megan, I specifically put this in the outline because I anticipated your arrival today. Tell us what's up with Fantasy Gift and Crypticon coming up.
Yeah, so Crypticon, just real quick, it's a nationwide convention that actually started here in Minnesota.
Oh, really?
Yep, it is the largest horror convention in the state.
Cool.
So a lot of
HORROW.
horror.
Not
Yes,
WH.
yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I just
Well,
figured
it's
we'd
important
check.
to clarify here.
Yes.
Yes.
And so it's 3 days, full weekend. There's celebrities, Q&A panels, super Dance of the Dead, fun events, party rooms. I've gone 6 years. I mean, you don't go to bed before 4 o'clock in the morning. It's a mad monster party. And this year's really exciting because it's their Decade of Darkness. It is their 10th year doing it.
Very cool.
And it will be Fantasy Gift's 3rd year back as a vendor. So we're in the vendor room with all the other dealers, and we have some safe stuff, some hosiery and accessories. And then we have our pop-up shop in a hotel room where we bring out the big guns, like Frankenstein's penis. And it tends to be the talk of the convention, and it is awesome. But what's really cool is we teamed up with them this year, and they actually gave us free weekend passes to give away.
Oh,
So this is like $140 value.
really?
So
okay.
we're giving away, actually we have 3 pairs that we'll be giving away.
Okay.
And we're doing it 2 ways. You can go to any one of our 9 Fantasy Gift stores, and we have entry forms. You can fill out a form, sign up right there in the store.
Okay.
1 entry per store, but I guess if you had a little gas and ambition, you could go to all 9. And we're not going to argue. Or we're also doing a really fun thing on Twitter. So you can tweet at us at Fantasy Gifts and at Crypticon MN is their Twitter handle.
Okay.
And we are looking for your best horror porn hashtag.
Okay.
So, so you just tweet at us and Crypticon hashtag horror porn, and then give us your best title. Speaking of our little word misunderstanding, example I gave was Event Horizon.
Nice.
Return of the Giving Head. Those are good examples.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So this, there's the 2 ways to win, and we are just taking entries by October 13th.
Okay.
We're going to draw someone's name on the 14th and mail them out the tickets. Give them time to prepare and stuff, because if you're going to go, it is a weekend-long event that you need to be mentally and also maybe costumely prepared for. So.
For sure. And maybe, just abstain from alcohol for a while, get the liver in shape, work out the liver prior.
Oh, no. See, what I usually do is I start drinking a lot beforehand.
Oh,
you got to build up tolerance.
Okay.
So that's how I go at it.
You're younger than I am. You can still get away with that stuff.
Yes.
And what are the exact dates for that, Meg?
So it is October 23rd through the 25th.
Okay. Okay, good deal. And I didn't have and when is the zombie pub crawl coming up again?
That I'm not sure of.
It's coming up this month yet, too. I know that it's a big downtown thing. Last year, I have got to make sure I go to work that night. It's always a Saturday night at the liquor store with my boyfriend, because it's more fun than, working for free. It's like free entertainment, for that. So be looking out for that. But the whole fantasy connection, it's so funny. People will ask me, well, why does Kelly, you work with a Fantasy Gifts crew. Why are costumes a big deal in a store that sells vibrators? And I'm like, fantasy?
Yeah.
What's confusing about fantasy? Is that it, or is there more to it that I'm missing?
No, it really is. People like to, dress up. A lot of costumes are available in a lot of different places, and it's not as big a business as we used to do. You've got your standard tuxedo thongs and stuff for men, and for women, you've got your like the nurse costume or some sort of authority costume, and a police officer, stuff like that, and a maid. All of those, sell consistently. They're standard fantasies, and it just helps people get there in their mind. we will not be selling the sexy Donald Trump costume.
Did you finally get a load of that?
Oh, yeah.
It's hideous, but it was so funny. Donna T. Rump Shaker.
So, that doesn't happen. The thing is that we sell, we have a lot of accessories because we found out people want what they want. They want this hosiery, this glove, this wig. It's personalized. And when you find a package stuff, plus the fact there's a pop-up shops all over the place, for them, if you're really thinking about it, you want what you want. I mean, people are like, well, how come we don't have like gift baskets? Because if I make a gift basket and I put in the cherry lube, someone's going to go, I like that, but I want the strawberry lube.
Right.
People want what they want. And we get that.
Oh, they're bugger.
And so we have tried several times over the years for something like that. And we're like, why am I beating my head against a wall again? It just doesn't work. No matter what, someone wants something different.
Yeah. But we do, our Crystal location right now has the very last of our more traditional Halloween costumes.
Okay.
Crystal and online fantasygifts.com. It's actually pretty nice because they are $10.95.
Really?
I mean, and these are costumes from, the companies, you'll see them at other stores for
30 to 60. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no
for
kidding.
full price. So, heck, at that point, I posted on some cosplay pages and stuff. I was like, even if you rip it apart for spare parts at that cheap.
Yeah.
But we do also, like, all year round, we'll carry generally a nurse, a maid, a schoolgirl. Those are kind of the big traditional fantasies. And, you hear it a lot with even actors where it's the wardrobe is where they really find their character. And for a lot of people, they can be embarrassed. They're like, I don't know how to role play a nurse. That's weird. Put on the outfit, have the little fake stethoscope, have the fishnets with the little bow and the red cross on it. And then, once you outwardly, you look like your character, it's a lot easier to start having a little more fun and decide, okay, now we can play doctor.
Last year, just about a year ago, now I was invited to a Gatsby themed party that was held at the caves in St. Paul.
Oh, fun.
Okay, so I'm thinking, all right, what can we do here? And we figured that everybody was going to pretty much go the gangster route. So I decided, and I managed to put together a pretty awesome flapper costume all by myself. I found this killer kick-ass dress at Goodwill for $15. So my look was great, and I made a headband and all that kind of stuff. But the question was what to do with Carl, because I knew all the guys were going to have their Tommy guns and crap like that. So we went the other way, and we went to Theatrical Costume Company in Minneapolis. Have you ever been there downtown, Megan? Are you serious?
Is it called Theatrical
Costume Company. It's
Oh,
right
no,
by the
no.
on-ramp.
I'm a
It's where
North
the-
Costco girl. That's where I usually end up.
You've got to go to everybody who lives in the metro area. Have you been in there, Colleen?
I haven't been in a new location because I'm just not a costuming person. But before they moved in a couple different places, I'm aware of what they have.
Well, we made him a Keystone Cop.
Oh, cute.
And the fact that he's already 6'4" with the tall hat on, everybody's like, oh,
Because
like
during Prohibition, you needed a cop.
we needed a
that's
cop, and I had the
fantastic.
gun in my garter, so I was under arrest, and we had handcuffs. I still have the handcuffs.
It's
I kept the handcuffs.
see, and that's part that ties into the fantasy.
Yeah, the handcuffs. It's amazing how many times handcuffs make it into whatever costume you've got.
Yeah, it's fun when you can go outside the box. I was at I went to a Pimps and Hoes party one year, and I don't like one thing with Halloween. Like, I want to be scary. I don't want to be slutty. I'm not like, oh, it's Halloween. I can dress like a skank for a night. Yay!
Sexy pizza.
Right. So I always like to do something a little different. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go to this Pimps and Hoes party, but I'm going to be a hoe for your garden.
Oh,
So I was all in
nice.
brown, and I had
Oh,
this big
God.
trowel attached to
God.
my head. And I'm like,
fantastic.
all right, I'm here. I'm a hoe. Which was probably why they sent me out to talk to the cops who ended showing up, because I was the most dressed. So that's the only downside, I
That's
guess.
fabulous. There's some really. This is the news portion of the Great Northern Sex Cast. There's there always is. Somebody's doing something stupid in Florida. We'll get to that. But this I thought was pretty interesting. The Simpsons My God, that has to be one of the longest running television shows ever outside of, soap operas, daytime soap operas. Did you know how many episodes, by the way? They're up to 575 episodes, 26 seasons already. The Simpsons, who knew when that first came out that it would have such longevity? However, we believe now that Smithers is going to come out of the closet and profess his thing for Mr. Burns. What do y'all think of that?
I think it's about time.
Don't you?
Good for him. Well, the only thing that concerns me, if I want to get real deep and analytical, is that's
why wouldn't you about the Simpsons?
Right. That's sort of an
right
abusive relationship, and I really feel that Smithers could do much better, and he should try some.
Play the field.
Yeah,
Don't confine his love and attention
go
just
to
Mr. Burns.
some daddy websites and find someone who will. I mean, I know he's rich, but he's also an asshole. So.
Right. And he's got the liver spot.
Yeah, don't sell yourself
I know,
short.
yeah, the pointy nose. And you.
Well,
But yeah,
there
but-
are people who would like that too.
But I also saw that earlier they decided that there was this big brouhaha that I was flicking around on, that they're thinking that Marge and Homer might it'll be separated or split, and people are like, cartoons can't do that, and they're like, well, it's a cartoon, it can do any damn thing at once.
They killed Brian on Family Guy. I mean, that was rather bold.
So I'm not sure, honestly. I hope this doesn't offend anyone that I've actually ever watched an entire episode of The Simpsons.
Just didn't keep your attention?
It did not. It did not. I mean, I get it, but it just, and if it's on or this or that, it's going through there, but it just never.
Not your thing.
No. That was a pop culture thing that just went right by me.
And yet, it still has its hangers on because they're still doing it. So
it is impressive. I know a lot of people would say it could have stopped
10 years ago.
Yeah, a decade ago, but
they're still selling the advertising. So, I was a little bit. Do you guys know? Have you guys been to Arizona much? Are you familiar with the area called Nogales?
No. I went to school in Flagstaff for a semester.
Oh,
That was bad. Okay.
really?
I was
love
so
Flagstaff.
not ready to be a student, but that was a long time ago.
Oh, but it wasn't Flagstaff's fault.
No, it wasn't Flagstaff's fault. It was
Okay.
all my fault. Although watching the sunrise over the Grand Canyon, pretty cool. But after 3 times, you're like, oh, hey, it's the sunrise over a big hole in the ground. But everybody else was drunk, and I wasn't drunk, so I got to drive.
Okay. So I love that area. I mean, I like to cross into Mexico because I grew up in Southern California, whatever. But okay, occupational hazard of living down there. This family heard this big boom. And when they went to investigate what it was, and thank goodness this happened, this thing came crashing through their carport instead of the other side of the house, which is where all the bedrooms were and people were sleeping and whatnot. But this object, a thunder boomer came right through the carport and smashed the doghouse, which thankfully their German Shepherd wasn't in the doghouse at the time. And it was 26 pounds of tightly bound marijuana with a street value of 10 grand.
wow.
So did someone lose their drone, or someone threw it out of a plane?
That's what they're trying to figure out. They don't know if it was a manned flight or if it was a drone. Or if it was an accident or an intentional drop, to divest,
Yes.
if you
Right,
will.
right.
But police are, looking into it, and they called 911 right away. But they had about $500 worth of damage in repairs. But would you love to call the insurance agent for that? Well,
I wonder if there's insurance codes for that, like there's for medical. What is it for pot drops through
right,
raw?
right.
What
Does that
number
count
is-
as an act of God?
nectar from the gods, maybe, depending on how you feel.
Oh, that just, or if it's splattered all over it. At least, good thing it didn't land on the dog. If they chewed on that, the poor little puppy would have been so ill.
I know. Oh God. Well, or stoned.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh yeah. My neighbor, a very straight-laced guy, barely even drinks. One of my neighbors, anyway, went out for happy hour the night before Thanksgiving with his office people, and ended up going home from the city's area to Buffalo because he couldn't drive, so he rode home and then ate pot brownies. I have never seen a human being in so much trouble on a holiday morning in my life. And then this guy, and it wasn't good because he's 60 years old now. This was 2 years ago. But yeah, the pot brownies, and the dog got into him the same night.
Oh no.
The dog is fine. The dog is
Yeah,
fine.
you got chocolate and pot. This is not good for the puppy.
Yeah, but I mean, this dog must be iron gut. But yeah, so that would have been good. You mentioned costuming with acting just a minute ago, and Matt Damon is in the news. Have you guys seen any pictures of him with the ponytail, the man bun for his new movie, The Great Wall, that's coming out?
Oh no, I missed them.
No, I thought he was in some
man
sort
bun.
of some astronaut thing. I'm
The
stuck on
Martian. The
or
Martian.
something.
He had another one too. That came out, and he had to get a bunch of hair extensions, and it really changes his look. I mean, he looks good. He's a good-looking guy. So he was just talking about once he finally got all the hair extensions back out, but how much female attention he got. I mean, like, and the tweets and the whatever. And he's like, I never knew they were growing my hair, so that was kind of funny. But then on a more serious note, he also made news. Obviously, he's got another big movie coming out. But he kind of went into a whole conversation about why he thinks that actors shouldn't come out. Did you read that?
I did read a little bit about it, and I went back and forth and this and that, because when you're not feeling well, you're just sitting at home playing on the web. And I realized that I really think that he got the bum of the deal there. I think he was just saying, and maybe he wasn't all that eloquent and things get changed, but I think what he was really saying is that he doesn't care who you are, that a person's personal life should stay personal.
Yep.
As going through there. And, was he not the most, did he get skewed? Did he get taken out of context a little bit more? I mean, and to tell you the truth, to some extent, it's not that wrong. I mean, it's only a few actors and actresses have managed to really survive once they've been outed. There'll be a tipping point sometime in the future. But I mean, Ellen DeGeneres made it, but she lost her sitcom when it first came out. None of the folks in the 20s and 30s and the 40s were allowed to come out. I mean, Cary Grant lived with someone for years, but no one actually, said it. Neil Patrick Harris does well playing, a romanizing person, but it's really hard sometimes for a lot of people to separate a person's actual life with what they see on screen. I mean, for example, when I go see him, I don't go see Tom Hanks movies, because even though I like Tom Hanks, all I see is Tom Hanks.
Really?
For me, he doesn't disappear into a role. I mean, and there are folks that won't go see Mel Gibson because he said such asshole things. And so, why would you do something to screw up your career? Now, he probably, like I said, I don't think he was saying you're supposed to stay in the closet. I'm just saying, I think he said that, it probably makes better business sense for everyone to be quiet about their personal lives. And then people just have to take shit and run with it.
Well, just a snippet of it. If you read absolutely the whole thing, and if you go back a few years, he's been married to what's his wife's name, Luciana Barroso, and he was very vocal about not wanting to date people in the industry. He's like, that just doesn't work, and he had very measured reasons for that. Not that he had anything per se against actresses, but he's like, if this is gonna, and let's be honest, you don't hear much about him, and that's exactly what he was talking about. He says you got to remain a mystery.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a conscious choice to not be in the tabloids. I really do think, because if you just don't give them anything, they do go away.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, because there are a lot of folks. I mean, that manage it. I mean, he does a lot of other folks. He just I don't hear about a lot of folks. They just they go to Starbucks and they get something and they wave at people and they go, and they don't do anything stupid like not wearing underwear when we get out of a car, or not beating up a spouse, or not getting
sports figures across the board.
Yeah, you can
and Emma Roberts.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
It affects all genders.
Yeah, and but I think it's also interesting to note in that, in case you're one of the people that just saw that comment fly by without hearing everything else that he said. He's played at least 2 that I know of gay roles. He played at The Talented Mr. Ripley, outstanding movie.
Oh, yes.
And he was he ever creepy in that. Yes. Holy moly. But then also, did you guys see Behind the Candelabra?
Yep.
The Liberace story?
I did not see it. I understand that it was a hell of a lot better than people thought it was going to be. That everybody in it did a really good job.
It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it showed. I think it really peeled back the layers on a lot of stuff. Not only, Liberace and whatever in the gay scene at that time, but Vegas, my God.
Vegas, baby, Vegas.
I love Vegas.
I do too.
The only problem I have with this is that, yes, in an ideal world, it should not matter what your private life is, who you're sleeping with, man, woman, gay, straight. It doesn't matter. The only issue is that the benefits that there can be to other gay people when someone comes out. That's why in some ways I think it can still be important or powerful and not something to try to deny.
Yeah, like I said, in a perfect world, but I think there'll be a tipping point. It won't make any difference. The more Neil Patrick Harris's and Ellen DeGeneres there are, the better it will be for the other folks that are coming out. And you've got, who was the gal in that was in Juno?
Ellen Page.
Ellen Page, yeah. She's just came out young, and she's got a girlfriend and doing this and that. And you have to let each generation do what they're gonna, evolve the way that they're going to evolve.
Yeah, because in theory, one day it won't be a news story.
Yeah.
Because it won't matter.
Right.
But I do think it's kind of nice until, like when Anderson Cooper came out, everyone's like, oh, wow, shocker, right?
Right, yeah.
But he was like, I don't think I need to tell you, but now I feel like, because given the suicide rates and all the issues amongst the gay community, I kind of feel it's my duty to show young people, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
And it is possible to make a name for yourself. The tricky thing is I think a lot of times you have to do it once you're already established. That's where the prejudice comes in. An unknown might get a TMZ boost in their popularity for a week if they came out, but Neil Patrick Harris can still hang on because he was so beloved before.
Yeah, and by the way, I caught a little bit of his new show last week, the Greatest Time Ever, I think it's called. It actually, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not my thing, but the boyfriend had it on, and it was like there was some pretty funny stuff in there. I have to admit, that guy he'd be a blast to hang out with. They actually one audience couple that had no idea, he had actually stalked them prior and then showed how he had photobombed them at their wedding. They had no idea, and they're showing all these. It was pretty damn funny, and they were just sitting there with their jaws on the floor, and then I think he gave them some great trip or some, whatever. But it was pretty neat and pretty clever.
Yeah, if you're going to make someone the butt of a joke on national TV, I think a decent vacation it would be the way to go.
Yeah, it was all cute.
It was all cute.
It was very cute. It was. Just one other note, though, Megan, to your point, with Jennifer Beals. I don't know how many of you ever caught any of the L Word. It was a good series. It was a Showtime series.
Outstanding series.
And did you see it, Colleen? Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. But the majority of the cast was not gay. The only one that was really gay and really out was the Alice character. She, whatever. So here's all these straight actresses. I'll never forget Jennifer Beals, who I'm not really a huge fan of because she was such a bitch in the years past Flashdance. She might be over herself by now, but she did a great interview with Ellen talking about how many letters of support she got from girls that she kind of brought back from that scary edge you mentioned. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I think it's definitely can be really powerful to see.
Yeah.
That. And, and for some people it works. I was just listening to a podcast that had Ian McKellen, and I didn't realize he's been out since the early 80s.
Really?
Yeah, he's been out forever. So it definitely can work. But again, yeah, I think the takeaway is at some point it just won't matter.
Yeah, no.
And you should read the whole damned article and not take a headline.
Yes, that is very true as well. Although Matt Damon's been putting his foot in his mouth quite a lot lately.
Not as bad as Ben Affleck, but okay.
Right. Well, he's been putting things elsewhere, but
that's true.
It's not like there's any photographic evidence of it, but it does look like he had.
Allegedly, are we at the point? Now that we have DraftKings as sponsors, we're big time. So we have to say everything allegedly.
Allegedly.
Right?
You guys, this next thing that I found was, Megan, you got to get this on the Great Northern Northern Sex Cast Facebook page, and we do have a contest running too, which we got to mention before we shuffle out the door here later today. But there is an anti-ogling shirt. Okay, and I'm going to try the inventor of it. His name, I'm sorry in advance if I'm butchering your name, sir. Benaz Farahi. Okay, and it's got a hidden camera, and it detects and uses face tracking algorithms. Now, I can't imagine that this shirt can be comfortable, but it doesn't look too bad in the pictures. So it detects an onlooker's gender, age, and viewing direction. So the shirt is like a smart technology shirt that's focused outward. And the clothing moves in line with where onlookers are staring. So if you were wearing it and I was a male, it's kind of geared towards guys, right? Staring at your breasts, and your shirt would like call attention to your breasts, like, and freak them out. I mean, think about how absolutely terrifying this would be. And then,
I can think of costuming possibilities.
Well, it's kind of like Michael with those. What were those suits called again? The all one.
Oh yeah, the morph suits.
Morph suits, yeah. Mm-hmm. But this it's a 3D printed material that's flexible, and so it's got some gadgetry. And it's got something that they're calling smart fibers. They can expand and contract depending on who and where people are looking. You got to watch the video of this. The shirt just does all this. They have people, and I mean,
they need the jeans so you know that when someone's looking at your ass.
Well, how would you know your ass is behind it unless
if it's moving around, you're gonna know.
Well, it's the light.
It's the light.
I think it does. Yeah, I don't think it actually.
Well, I do know that Miley Cyrus and stuff like that have light up pasties. So if you combine that, someone's looking at her boobs there.
But yeah, well, Miley Cyrus. But I mean, you got to see the video on this. It's hysterically funny. I mean, where are they going with this? I think that we're going full body. Don't you?
That would be because if you. It's not. I mean, I guess it's supposed to make the other person, feel uncomfortable about where they're staring and pay attention to it. But, for the most part, it's like you pretty much know that someone's looking at you. I mean, I can tell it's.
Don't you think some of us, though, sometimes you can be a little, like, depending on what mood you're in, a little more oversensitive to that. Like, did that person look at me funny? I'm having a bad hair. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, sometimes, I mean, I do think there's a fine line, but I think this would be a great hidden camera bit.
Definitely a hidden camera. And that's maybe the only application I could imagine.
It's not something that I could really make part of a typical ensemble that I would wear, but look it up. It's super, super interesting. So when I saw this headline, it said, it looked like an orgy in ancient Rome. I'm thinking, what are we talking about here? Like a spontaneous Caligula.
Am I invited? What's
right? But no, this was 6 British architects now facing charges, and they're from like a major environmental firm in the UK. They were there for a conference, and they went to one of the famous historic fountains that I can't pronounce, and were, of course, caught on what Colleen has in her hand over there, somebody's cell phone, romping naked, like frolicking. Now, I'm sorry, but that hardly reaches orgy level in my view. You guys?
No. Frolic is not an orgy.
No, yeah, very, very different things.
And
they're both fun in completely different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now all 6 of their faces on top of their clothed bodies are making their way around the internet as they face obscenity charges in Italy. I'm sorry, but is it so? Is it the same as flashing, an underage person just getting naked in a fountain that's been there since BC? Come on, man. I see a very big difference there.
I definitely do. Well, and it sounds like obscenity is the generic you can't be naked in public law. If they had gotten them in some sort of like sex offender charge or something, that would be ridiculous. Because I guess I don't blame them. You're like, we're in Italy. There's an old, fountain. Let's frolic. That's what you do in fountains in Italy.
Well, and any fountain, well, not except for downtown Minneapolis. But Colleen, you've traveled, here and there. Isn't it amazing when you literally touch something that's been there and you start really letting yourself think about how old something like a building or a fountain is? I mean, how could you not be moved to get naked?
Yeah, and there's just certain places where I just too much of a draft. But the idea that the human body is obscene is something that I have even as I'm like, why is a naked person's not nasty? I don't understand. I mean, at one point, I think someone, I don't know who it's going to be, is going to finally sue someone that says, my naked body is not obscene. Your naked body is not obscene. Nudity is not obscene.
Yeah.
And I find that, you could say that it's, it's not appropriate to go to the Guthrie nude, but it's certainly not obscene. That's, I'm not going to the Vikings game nude, but it's not obscene. There's...
Oh, wouldn't that be just one of the best, like, new christeners for the new U.S. Bank Stadium to have nudist day? And just one game where the whole entire crowd is naked. That would be...
And then power wash all the seats.
For sure.
Well, you could really do some great body painting if you're doing that, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
New York, all the chicks that are wearing only body paint on top in Times Square, that big whole hoo-ha. It's a big deal. Right? I don't know, but would you freak out? Well, no, you've got a daughter, but I mean, seriously,
I'm not. I find every time I see that, when I was saying I've seen statue this or that, I just cannot figure out. Like they would save a lot of time if they just would say, it's inappropriate to not be wearing clothing right now, but it's but the obscenity statute is not
For sure. That should be some sort of a little minor ticket right there, unless they were doing something that they could connect sex with. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't appear that they did. We can't pretty much ever skip a week without doing something from Florida, and this one cracked me up, even though it's not very sexual.
Were they naked?
Well, yeah, technically,
Okay.
because it's a macaque monkey that escaped. Did you see this? Zeke?
Bits and pieces of it.
This is brilliant.
Yes.
This person does, by the way, have a permit to own a monkey in this residential, and he's cute neighborhood. He doesn't look at all like a chimp. He's like he looks very exotic. And he's beautiful, but he took off and he would shake the street signs. He was eventually captured sitting on top of a mailbox eating mail in Hidden Lake subdivision. Mm-hmm. I mean, so can't you just picture this like cookie cutter thing and the monkey's out there like, fuck the electric bill, fuck visa, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it is Florida. I mean, you're not really going to have a lot of random monkeys running around Minnesota because it just, they got out. But it could, but that would be for, I mean, and there's no penguins here either.
There is a guy that has a monkey.
Where?
Oh my, it's a hilarious story. So I'm driving with my mom in the car, and I look over, and there's a bright, giant yellow Hummer. And there's a monkey driving this fucking Hummer.
Like it's moving, driving?
Yes, like we're going down Larpenter.
Oh my God.
And it's on the other, and I'm like, Mom, there's a monkey driving that car. And she is like, what are you smoking? And I'm like, literally turn your head. It's a guy it was a chimp, and it was dressed in like Oshkosh bagosh overalls, standing on his lap, two little paws on the steering wheel of this Hummer.
So there is someone in Minnesota with a monkey in overalls.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then
I have to admit, I think I might be a little jealous. Again, once again, I think that would be more poop than I want to deal with.
No, and also this has been, people who know me, this has been my philosophy for a long time. Mm-hmm. Never trust a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They're shady. I don't trust them. That chimp is going to throw poo and rip his face off. Just you wait.
Yeah. Well,
they are wild. Yeah. I know that the little tiny, like capuchin monkeys, the little tiny ones are good little helpers for that. But once you get, I think, past about 5 pounds, no.
I'm just really thinking that there's certain animals that don't really need to live in the house. And
monkeys is one of them. I would say.
I'm with you. Mm-hmm. Definitely with you. This one, guys, we heard of. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Vaginal knitting yet? Has that come across your radar?
No.
Okay. Well, here we go. So this comes to us from Darwin, Australia, and this is a female performance artist. She calls herself a feminist and craftivist. Her name is Casey Jenkins. And what she's trying to do is get over everybody's, kind of to Colleen's point, freakouts over the discomfort with a naked female body. So what she does is she stores yarn inside of herself daily. There's a new one every day. And then has it twisted in such a way that it unwinds, and she knits with it coming out. And she does this regardless. Now, my question to you, as Colleen is rendered speechless over there, at what point does the shock versus the value of the message you're trying to send completely just crush the value, the shock? What do you think?
That point.
Yeah, is that we're there?
We're there. Yes,
because I know that there's been a was it last year or something? I don't know. During one of the last congressional sessions here, people were sending knitted and crafted vaginas to lawmakers in DC, because they're like,
that's
well,
funny.
You seem to be so concerned about uteruses. Here, you can have your own instead of mine.
Yeah.
And so they were sending but the idea that you would just I'm sure once would have been enough to get to get that across.
Oh no, this is an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
I just think it would be irritating.
Irritating, yes, and not healthy.
Yeah, it just looks like a place if you're. You're not supposed to wear. They took Rely tampons off the off the market. I'm pretty sure your vagina does not want to have yarn stuffed in it every day. And mind you, I have to admit, I cannot speak for the billions of vaginas out there, but I know my vagina does not want to have yarn stuffed into it.
Nor would I buy something. I'm like, it is not obscene, okay, but that I don't need your bodily fluids.
That's where I go.
The only people that are buying this are like weird. There's one guy who's got a wool/vagina fetish who is so excited now.
I can't bring myself to go start getting my winter sweaters out. It's going to take a couple of days before I can do this.
Just actually saying the word vagina instead of vajayjay or other euphemism does 1,000 times more good. Just saying the words.
Mm-hmm. That's much more powerful.
There's a UN thing right now when they're dealing with. You guys are going to laugh at me because I've never been able to pronounce this word, but there's a group there that's working on hygienic bathroom stuff, but they're working really hard to get the word menstruation into it, because it's so important for women and girls to have a place that is not outdoors to go to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. But to get that word into the UN wording was just freaking out everyone. But it's important for women and girls to have a safe place to change a pad or to deal with something that happens to with them every month. And this is the same thing. Just use the right words. Focus on, calling the UN representatives, folks, and saying that, yes, everyone should have a safe place for a whole bunch of wording, basically, not to go to the bathroom outside, but to include that part for women in there is important. To still not, stuff it off to the side. That's going to do more than knitting out of your vagina.
Right. Although, can I say, when you started, I wasn't imagining a vagina with like tiny little knitting needles, and she's doing her like Kegels and getting them to work.
I went there too. I'm like, is she Kegels?
See, now if her vagina could knit,
now
that's a story.
That's like the penis painting and anything like that.
Yeah, using her vagina as a pocket, that's old hat.
Yeah, people stuff like like loaded guns in their damn vagina. So really, the yarn is not
frightening. Like I said, it's going to take a while before I can face my winter sweaters. I'm just nervous. I'm upset, and this did not turn out to be the interesting acrobatic endeavor that I thought maybe it was when I saw the headline.
No, and I cannot handle craftivist. That word has got to go.
Right? Right. So, guys, I have not ever, I don't think, brought this topic up yet on the Great Northern Sex Cast, and I was avoiding it for a while, but I think I'm in a safe zone time-wise matchmaking. I did a show about a year ago for a couple months with one person who was a local matchmaker who, and one of the reasons why I don't do that show anymore is because really I thought it was just kind of bullshit. I mean, I'm just going to say it. I'm not naming any names or anything else, but it's like, so I saw a story about another one, and it's this 28-year-old, very all-American looking girl, and she does have some cred. She's got a psychology degree, like a master's degree in counseling psychology from Northwestern. So this is not a flibberty gibbet chick here. I mean, she's got some cred, but she works for this company called the 3-Day Rule, and I really don't know what that means, but she gets anywhere, depending on what package they buy, from $3,500 to $5,000. I think the 35 is 3 months and the 5,000 is 6. And she goes through and she talks about doing a lot of the same things that this other person did and running around scouting. Well, this one guy that really likes music, I know one woman that works at a music venue. Oh, right. I'm sure they're marriage material. It's like, come on. I want to know, I'm going to rant just a little more, and then I want you guys to let me have it about this. But it's like, have we just gotten so to the point that we will trust anything we say, okay, I'm not going to go put the effort and the commitment into doing this myself, i.e. finding the love of my life or someone to spend my life with, blah, blah, blah. But instead, I'm going to pay money because then that gives credibility to this process. And I can believe it more because I bought it. Are you serious? And she's 28. When I was 28, I was a freaking moron still. Not that I'm much better now, but I have at least. What does she know?
No, matchmaking is, a lot of times I mean, considering the fact that most people to some extent, you meet either at school or through your church or through work, to some extent that those are matchmaking places because you're running into something. But if you run through all of those things and you haven't found anyone, I mean, this just like personalized eHarmony, right? I mean,
or no, it's not even doing that for yourself. You're just paying for it. It's like if you can't even get online and write a profile, and go meet some people, then you know what? Maybe therapy is what you need versus.
Well, they're gonna. I mean, I've never done that, but I understand that you just get so many. I mean, it's like having you have a personal assistant for almost everything else. But I just don't.
And how's that working for most people? I mean, no, come on, really.
Yeah. I can't. I mean, I think it would take. I just don't know how a stranger would know you better than the folks you work with or your family or something like that.
I'm sure it's a fear thing. You're afraid to put yourself out there, so somebody else is doing it for you, and it takes away that fear of leaving yourself open or vulnerable. I don't know. I'm cheap. I went to OkCupid because it's free. So,
yeah. But at the end of the day, I'll shut up after this, and this is what I'm going to say. How many people out there and sitting in this room have paid money for a treadmill, and we didn't do the workouts and lose the weight, but we thought that buying the treadmill was going to make the whole thing happen? To me, it's the dating equivalent of thinking that if we buy all this crap, we're going to get where we want to go without participating.
Buy yourself to a better life.
I don't think so. I'm sorry, I just don't think so. We have to talk about the webcam stuff, guys.
Oh, crap. Did you find my link?
Yes, I did. Nicely done, you. I gave you 4 stars. 5, actually. Online work. Okay, so this is going on over in Britain. Actually, one was a U.S. couple, but this whole thing is being watched over in Britain. It's the Sex Cam Diaries, and it's couples that are claiming to make money. And one, the U.S. couple, who the husband is somehow in jail, unclear for what. But we're claiming 6 figures for theirs, and they're every day just having sex for the camera. And they're, I guess you could say, she definitely is an attractive person. He's like, okay, whatever, not my thing. But anyway, so there's all these different couples. One of the couples, Moses and Kitty, and you got to see, actually, I think you would really like these masks, Megan. They wear these butterfly masks throughout the whole thing, because it's like, cool. It's not like you couldn't probably tell who she was outside the mask anyway, which just makes the whole thing uber creepy to me. But Moses and Kitty have just had a kid, and he said, well, you just screw more if you need extra nappies. So they're fucking for nappies, right? And they're talking about how much they make. He also has other interests such as bisexuality and some swinging things that he likes to do. But it's like, so they made a documentary about, there's I guess 4 episodes of this out in Britain right now. And overall, the conclusions were, this is kind of depressing. That the reviewers and the normal people, but then a couple of them have these huge audiences, and some of the stuff that they're doing gets more watched than the sex, such as the cleaning and the ironing and the playing Monopoly. What do you think?
Oh, well, we eons ago, 80s and early 90s, before everybody had their own, internet connection at their house, we sold a lot of amateur porn.
Okay.
It doesn't even exist anymore because there's this. One of the first things that people did as soon as everyone had internet connection was put a camera in their house. There are entire groups of houses of women and men that pay for their college educations and other things by living in houses that have every room wired up. Mm-hmm. So watching I think people like to look. They just do, and I think they like to know that other people do the same things they do, or it's going through there, especially like, wow, and they have, but they're clean, it's just,
you don't find this peculiar at all? No,
not when I knew. I know how much amateur movies we used to sell. People want to know what regular people look like having sex.
Really,
it's not. Sometimes it's not about fantasy. Sometimes it's about reassuring yourself that you are that you are normal too.
I do find it a little odd that, if someone were to get more excited watching them iron than actually have sex, that is a little strange to me. Okay. Because what's the? I mean, there's something for everyone, but I've yet to hear of ironing.
Maybe it's the anticipation. Okay, so this is the normal stuff. When is the sex?
Once you get that pleat down, it's gonna get crazy.
But looking at that, because you're trying to figure out how are. I mean, did they say it like at 8:35 we're gonna have sex, or were there regular chores happening and then someone made an offhand comment or someone came in and gave a smooch and it turned into something? Is it the anticipation? Are they watching is there going to be foreplay going in there? How do you get from the ironing to the sex?
Yeah.
That's, I think, a lot of people have a hard time getting from the ironing and the dishes and the diapers and all that. I mean, because I tend to think and speak at the same time. So as I'm coming through, I'm like, they're probably wondering how you get from here to here, here to there.
Okay, but let's just be honest. Okay, and I'm not discounting what you're saying, because on some levels, I almost think too that it's like they become your friends, and it's like, well, what are they doing? I'm going to see what they're doing. But here's the question: when you think about television shows and how, especially reality shows, that's the best example that I can use. How much editing is done before they decide what's going to go into that hour that it's on? Mm-hmm. How much time would you have to spend to get to anything interesting?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I was wondering when I was reading this.
I mean, that's probably why that stuff's going on there, because people are checking, well, they've been doing this for like 4 hours, so there's got to be sex soon. I mean, that's the point of it, right?
Or what if they pop up at, 9:30 when you have to go to bed and say, sorry, we have a headache. Oh, man, you just got dissed by your pay for porn people. No.
Yeah, and I can see them making it, because they're just, it doesn't seem like much, but if you're, if it's whatever the subscription rate is, whether it's hourly or weekly, they probably have different things you can go on. I'm sure they do just fine.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I was completely freaked out. I want to end with something. This is not a Caitlyn Jenner item, but it's related, because the person that is discussing the issue is in the cast of I Am Kate, and this is Jen Richards, and she's kind of involved with the show. You'll see her in different settings on there. But there's been a couple of incidents recently in which the TSA has detained trans people. And then, so say it's a formerly male that hasn't had completely, removed everything, all of the extra. So a lot of them will call themselves women with extra parts. And I'm trying to recount this story in terms that will not offend the transgender people, because I'm still learning exactly how to be appropriate and respectful, because I am trying to be that right here. And it's really sad, because she can prove that she was legally a woman and just what they went through. And Jen Richards discusses a time where she was taken for strip search, and this whole thing, which was way over the top. There was no other reason other than the confusion by the idiot that wasn't looking at her ID and giving credit for it. And this made me think, and I'm throwing this out, and I really want to hear what you two have to say. It made me think about a few years back when there was the controversy over Muslim women wanting to take their driver's license pictures in a full burqa, like no face visible. And I mean, here they've got an ID that shows, and they can, show some sort of proof that they are identified and legally recognized as a woman. Whereas now we've got a picture of somebody out here whose face you can't see. So how do we ever know if this was the bank robber or not? I don't know. I mean, I just thought those two things were kind of odd parallels, but I just wanted to get some takes from you too.
No, it once again, learning curve.
Yeah.
These are folks that are tasked with a lot of security theater. And you're going to, and there's a lot of turnover, and a lot of folks they're going to make mistakes. And I think a lot of times, I think people are allowed to make mistakes. I don't think in certain spots that you're allowed to continue making mistakes, because a lot of times people will, give up the good enough or the practical for the perfect. And there's no such thing as perfect. But you're going through here, and I'm like, if you're looking at an ID, and it says female, and you're doing this, and you're looking at the picture, you should be able to, the trend, and, we'll have to ask if next time I run into someone's transgender, say, do they preface it and saying, going through there, but to say that there's an anomaly on the film, I don't think you need to go all the way back to the strip search. I mean, at this point in 2015, someone should be able to look at it and go, oh, this is a transgendered person, and it go on, maybe, and then that should be it. But the fact that it's continuing to happen, that's a problem. I mean, you just can't.
Or do you think that there's a legitimate concern, or is this lack of education on the government's part, where it's like, okay, this looks like a woman, the ID says it's a woman, but I see what I think is a penis under there. What does that really truly warrant? A conversation? Or, I mean, what if if they think it's a penis and they go, yep, it is a penis, have we really gained any ground? I mean, because are we still not arguing over the same thing? Are you still accusing that person of not being who they say they are? I don't know. What do you think, Meg?
Heavy.
It is, I know, but
I mean, I can see it from the TSA, where if they're the person that they're seeing in X-ray form even does not match the identification, that they're going to question, hey, why is this? However, a penis is not a gun. A penis is not a bomb. So I think I see that something came up on the X-ray, and that would be, I think, a perfect opportunity for the person to say, yes, I am transgender. And then the TSA can say, okay, well, that is a penis there, and
these are also boobs
or a gun, or
because in a lot of cases they will have the breasts, and stuff. So that,
and you can still see. I imagine there will be enough facial wise that you'll still be able to tell that it is the same. That I think would be the other concern if someone does the classic screwball like, I'm gonna dress up like a woman to try to escape prison or whatever, what I mean. But I mean, you'll be able to see that the face matches, because I've actually had that in the store where I've had individuals come in and I don't know that they were transgender per se, or I think a lot of them might have just actually been cross-dressers coming in, and they'll hand me their ID, oh, hey, Steve Smith says your ID with the credit card, but they're wearing a wig and they're wearing an outfit, but I can still see enough facial structure under. I'm like, okay, I can still see that you are
Steve,
the person attached to this ID, attached to this credit card. So I will take your money. Okay, I can still confirm.
I never thought about that.
There will be, if you're using a credit card at our stores, there will be an ID.
Okay.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, we've had recently. We've caught a lot of fraud people coming in, and the card. Well, we don't have the problems now, but this is how they started finally insisting on the ID. It was stolen credit cards getting declined. Oh, let me go to my car and get another one. So now it's like ID and credit card. Hold on to the ID, scan the credit card, whatever. yeah, it's been interesting.
No, it is sort of frustrating, and it drives me crazy when I go to other places, and they'll take my credit card, and I don't have to sign for anything. It's under $50. I'm like, the banks make us responsible. The laws make me responsible. All this sort of stuff, but they just allow people to use a card. So I don't mind. You ask for an idea. Just a little common sense there, and if you're going through. The same thing with if you're taking, someone's breast milk or this or that, they just have to, a little bit more common sense. I think by this time, 2015, you should not be making those mistakes anymore. It's frustrating.
Well, let's wrap. Oh, go ahead, Meg.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think some sensitivity training would be the best way to deal with it.
They need a process there. They need to be able to tell them without taking somebody all the way down the path, because in the one instance, Jen Richards said she almost missed her flight. And that's just, that's a big deal. That's hundreds of dollars. That is like imposing a fine without due process on someone, so you got to do that. So Meg, let's wrap up quick today with what's our horror hashtag thing again? Just give us that one more time.
Oh yeah. So you can tweet at Fantasy Gifts and at Crypticon MN on Twitter, your hashtag horror porn.
Okay. So fucking for nappies wouldn't make it, or
no. Ideally a play off of another
so
a horror movie title.
Okay. So
I wonder if something like The Thing is the actual title, but would probably still work.
Okay. So something horror related.
Well, I was thinking about Scream too, because really.
Right.
How about Moan? Make it Moan. I don't know.
Nightmare on Wet Dream.
Okay.
Wet Dream on Elm Street.
Wet Dream on Elm Street.
There we go.
There you go. That works better. Okay, so they need to be that way, and the prize is $140 value. It's weekend passes.
Yes. Yeah, full weekend. You get in Thursday, or it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a full weekend of awesome fun.
Okay, well, guys, good to see you this week. Megan, we got a lot of stuff to put up on Great Northern Sex Cast. Yes. And check out, too, we're going to post here and there some references to other colleagues here on the Alive and Social Network. There's really a wide range of entertainment involved here. So visit us early and often, and check out our other friends on Alive and Social, and we'll be back with you guys next week.
Sounds great. Have a great week.
Bye.